What is nervous system regulation about? There's so much talk about somatics, somatic exercises, nervous system regulation. And in this video, I want to dive into what the essence of nervous system regulation, based on my experience, of course, is. So, to me, nervous system regulation is first and foremost about listening. It's far less about implementing certain exercises, doing certain practices, and changing routines, changing habits, implementing life hacks, whatever. It's much, much more about listening and cultivating an intimate relationship with yourself, your body, your nervous system, so that from that place, from that deeper attunement with your body, you can act accordingly. You can meet the needs of your body. First and foremost, it takes practice to actually, and this is why people love like rigid practices and exercises so much, because then you don't have to think about it, you don't have to feel yourself. You can just be like, okay, I wake up, I do XYZ. Every single day I do the same routine, and hopefully I'm going to be healed in a couple months from now because I put in the work. This is not what nervous system regulation is about, okay? Exercises, practices, and establishing a containment, a continuum, persistency is of course part of nervous system regulation. However, it's not the essence. The essence is cultivating intimacy with yourself so that you can actually understand the language of your body, of your nervous system. That you know, like, okay, I entered this particular state. I'm in a fight response, right? I'm the sword, and now you're in attack mode because there's something that triggered you, and your usual response is going into fight until it's too much for your body to handle, and then you drop down, boom, and you collapse, and you're in shutdown mode, and you want to go to sleep, and you feel tired and exhausted. And these things usually happen on an unconscious level because we have no idea what's happening. We just know, oh, there's something happening that doesn't feel nice, but you don't really know how to navigate that. And through psychoeducation, understanding the nervous system, understanding how your body is functioning, which different states of the nervous system there is, and what your predominant states are, what your responses are, just gaining knowledge about it, it's called psychoeducation, is such a relief, because then what's happening internally within you makes sense. So that's the first step towards healing, towards self-leadership, towards creating a sovereign life, because then it's no longer happening to you and it's overwhelming and you don't know how to deal with it. It rather becomes something that you can explore, something that you can begin to become curious about. And then the seriousness drops a bit. So again, returning to the essence of nervous system regulation, cultivating intimacy with yourself so that you can feel your body communicating to you, that you can feel, for example, if you feel the need, like, oh, I feel the need to be touched, which is a basic human need, and we can't transcend that, as I mentioned in one of my previous posts. One of the responses that I had in the past was like, okay, I crave touch, human touch, intimacy, and then because that need was obviously not being met, I was like, okay, let's just transcend it. But that's actually a trauma response. It's not me consciously going in there, engaging with life, engaging with my body, seeing, okay, what is there actually that I can do to get this need met? Or is there a way that I can just open myself to this particular sensation and engage in it with curiosity instead of just transcending it by pushing away and being like, I don't want this to exist, so I'm just gonna return to the present moment, return to my breath, and do some breathing exercises, meditate it away. Again, using practices, exercises to transcend something or to get rid of something has nothing to do with the core essence of nervous system regulation. Nervous system regulation, in essence, means, again, returning to a state of connection. So in polyvagal theory, we call the regulated state the ventral vagal state. So that's your vagal nerve on the side of your stomach, ventral for stomach, vagal for vagus nerve. And that all it means is connection. It means intimacy. It means social engagement. You're feeling good. And this is what we want to focus on. This is what we want to learn how to return to. This is what we want to strengthen. And again, it's all about creating safety so that this connection on the inside, first and foremost, can be reflected on the outside. However, it's not always about the internal reality. Something also that I find really, really important to mention here is, for someone like myself and many of you as well, I know that, we have the tendency to look inside very often and like more than on the outside. It's called interoception. And oftentimes looking in can be quite overwhelming in the sense of we're trying to pick ourselves apart, like overanalyze ourselves, like, oh, there's this particular emotion again, and then how do I digest this emotion, how do I process it? And then we are so overly involved and engaged with our internal processes. It's like the mind is actually impeding the body's ability to digest these emotions on its own. So again, nervous system regulation is about getting out of the mind that is interfering with the natural processes that are taking place organically without you having to go in there and do the digesting work. Like, you don't have to tell your, I mean that on an emotional level, but also you don't have to talk to your autonomic nervous system, your bowels, like, hey man, digest faster. This just doesn't work, right? So what you want to do is install a sense of safety, and that often, to get full circle here, happens when we get out of the looking inward so obsessively and focus more on the outward reality. For example, orienting in the room, looking at animals. This is why co-regulation with an animal is so powerful. Going into connection with the immediate environment that you are in. This is why being in nature is so regulating for your nervous system. Listening to the sound of flowing water, listening to the rain, just watching the clouds, having like this wide gaze into the forest and seeing the different shapes. It's also regulating because we get out of the mind and we get into this state where our nervous system can relax, and from there on, all of this emotional tension can be processed and is being processed on its own. There's not much we have to do. And this is so, so important. I see this with clients often as well, that we are so hard on ourselves. We're trying so much, and this comes from a good place, actually. Like, we're wanting to heal, we're wanting to further our evolution, we want to get out of this stuckness, but we interfere too much. And so again, what we have to do, what I recommend you to do, what I invite you to do, getting a bit more soft here, is focusing on your outer reality more than on your inner reality. Connect with your senses, with your environment. Find people that you can safely co-regulate with, people you can talk to. Perhaps if you feel yourself spiraling out of control, blowing your capacities, there's someone you can call. Is there an animal you can lean towards as a regulating resource? A cat, a dog, a horse? Is there any place in nature that you can go to? There's so much. But again, getting away from the idea that there is certain exercises that you have to do every single day, like getting out into nature. I have to get out into nature. I have to co-regulate with a partner. I have to like pet my dog every single day so I feel regulated. That's not what I want to convey in this video. This is not nervous system regulation. This is our mind trying to control our reality because we don't feel safe letting go. And because, first and foremost, we don't have that intimacy with our body. We don't trust the impulses, the language. We can't translate what our body, our intuition is telling us. So, again, now bringing this full circle, coming to a close here. Nervous system regulation is about developing and cultivating a deeper and more intimate relationship with yourself, so that from this attunement, deeper attunement to your own needs, you can then take precise, concisive, proper action. Okay? And we can dive into how to develop more resources, how to embody resources, what are resources actually. We can dive into that in future videos as well. But for this video, I'll leave it at that. So yeah, Felix checking out. Thank you for tuning in and see you soon.